First thing, I guess, that people would probably are most interested in, because they're trying to make this decision for themselves, is what did you do before you became a business owner? So what led you to this point?
I was a military vet. I was in the Air Force. I did some. I was a firefighter and sheet metal mechanic on F-16s.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for your service.
Or when I finished service, I went to school, got my degree and everything, and started going to work for the Air Force again.
Right.
In an administrative capacity.
Yeah.
Did a couple different jobs, did contracting and finance work, and never really liked it.
Right.
Did never seemed like something. I was always talking myself into thinking that this was something I could do long term.
Okay.
Just kind of felt stuck, but I
So how long were you in this service?
I was in for 3 years on active duty and then 4 in the Guard.
Okay, awesome.
Then
Then
I
talk
kinda got
about your
serious.
family size.
I have 4-year-old triplets.
4-year-old
Yeah.
triplets, yes. We had a couple conversations with craziness in the background
Yeah,
because they were home, obviously, during some of that
Yeah,
time.
during quarantine, we were both trying to work. We were both teleworking with those 3 little big personalities.
Right,
Not
that's
little.
awesome.
And they're all completely different, so they're a handful.
Okay.
It's all over the place.
Okay,
So
good.
yeah, trying to balance their well-being and try to actually do what I'm being paid to do was tough.
So talk a little bit about kind of what brought us from where we were when we first started and kind of what it evolved into, kind of like the whole process. What did you think of it compared to how you had looked at them before, and then kind of where we took a couple of different paths, so give us some of that, like how it all happened.
The more I talked to people and the more I looked at the business models, it just got less scary than it was when I first started looking.
Right.
When I first started looking, I was looking at something that I could run by myself. I could handle 100% on me, and it wouldn't be
Right.
Too much.
Right.
But the more I thought about it, the more I wanted to have scalability and be able to expand and do more things and
Right.
make sure it could be something that I'd be happy doing long term. Since the last 2 things with the Air Force didn't stick. Wanted something that I can keep interesting long term and be a little different every day.
Okay.
But it just seemed really scary to jump into something like that.
Okay.
When we first started, and the more the more I talk to people, to other franchisees and stuff, about like the support you get, because I was really skeptical at first.
Right.
Very skeptical about how much I was actually going to get from the franchise office. So
Right.
the more I kind of talked to franchisees and kind of softened to it, came to expect that I would have some backup, some
Right.
help with doing things.
Right.
The more I was willing to step into something like that.
Okay.
But
And so what did you think about the process of working with a consultant? So about kind of like all the different steps that you go through and help with some of the questions. How did you find that helpful? Did you find it kind of kept you on track?
It did. I was pretty skeptical about that at first too, because I thought I'd done all my homework.
Yep.
Because almost everything you had shown me, I'd already found on some website and had looked it up.
Yep.
Like, rarely does somebody mention a franchise and I don't know about it already, because I read about probably 1,500 of them.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Only to find out that a bunch of them weren't like even available in the country. It was crazy. I went down all kinds of rabbit holes. But
I'm gonna use that.
picking the ones to actually reach out to is probably the most important part, to be honest, because
Good.
I didn't know which way to go.
Right.
And not having any sort of relationships with any of them, and not having anything other than their webpage to look at.
Right.
Which
Their
is,
webpage
sales
and their
material.
sales team. Right.
Mhm.
So good.
And and come to find out, like, a bunch of franchises are so small they don't even have like really many reviews.
Mm-hmm.
There's like 3 locations, but you don't know that from looking at their webpage.
Right.
So yeah, just kind of getting me on the right track to actually narrow down like what I'm actually looking at and actually initiate the conversations.
Good.
Like, initiating the conversations is probably the next biggest thing,
Okay.
because I don't know how long it would have taken me to actually finally reach out to anyone.
Right. Right. So are you excited?
I am.
Okay.
I'm very excited.
Okay. And so after training, then what is your timeline to get to work?
Pretty much immediate, and I've got to take care of some stuff,
Which
just
was
business
important.
related
You
stuff.
wanted that. Like, you didn't want a big build out and a big waiting period between training and getting started. You kind of
Yeah.
wanted it, I was like, when I make this decision, because you made a big decision.
Most people think I'm nuts because I left a good job with the government and everything. You know, most people that get a job with the government don't leave. So I think this is the perfect time for this business, at least.
Okay.
Because my wife works with a bunch of engineers and stuff. You know, people who are always into paying people to do
Everything.
Everything, remodeling stuff for them.
Right.
Not so much the hands-on type people.
Okay.
And they're constantly she's constantly telling me that her coworkers are looking for someone to remodel something in their house, and they can't even get anyone to come out and look because they have a 6-month backlog that they don't want to add to.
Okay.
So
you're gonna hit the ground running.
hopefully I can build up some kind of backlog before I even really get going.
All
so
right.
that'd be nice.
That's awesome.
Made me feel a lot better about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.